Hello everyone, today we look at how to create the dimension styles. Last week I have discussed all these tools. So today I'm going to look at this one, dimension style. So you can come from this path or you can use this tool here available. So now we have used the standard dimension style to dimension our drawings. Now normally we don't try to alter the standard settings, because if you need the standard settings again in a latter part of the drawing, you may not get it. So better you create a new style, and this will be the current style for our work. So I will create my style now. Always give a meaningful name. Then it's starting with the standard style. It may be annotated style also, and it's going to be applicable for all the dimensions you are going to use. But if you want, you can customize this to linear, angular, likewise. So that thing I am going to discuss later. Now I'm going to press the continue button. Now now we are getting lot of settings in this dialog box. uh, these settings are more or less similar to the parameters I discussed in the last video. So we will quickly look at the important parameters here. So the dimension lines, these normally this is coming from the layer. So normally we set as by layer or by block, or else if you want to override the colors, that can be done here. The line type, normally it's continuous. Line weights, we don't increase the line weights normally. And important thing here is the baseline spacing. So if you have baseline dimensions, example in tutorial 9 we have baseline dimensions. So in order to maintain this baseline spacing, you have to give a value. So that value can be given from here depending on the drawing. So we will look at an example from these things. Then we can suppress the dimension lines both sides for single side. Then we have settings for extension lines. So the extension lines, everyone knows what are extension lines now, these lines. And the important setting is extend beyond dimension line. So this is called as extension line extension in the parameter settings. Now the name is slightly different here. Extend beyond dimension line is this amount. So if I just increase this, you can see the change happens here. So it depends on the style it depends on the drawing you are using. Offset from origin, this is the value offset from origin. So I can say increase the value and see now this is increased. And if you want, we can have a fixed length for the extension line. This length can be fixed. So you can see everywhere it's now going to be 1. So those are the important parameters here. Next we look at about the arrows. So everyone knows about these arrow types now. Leader arrow shape also we can change. Arrow size is given here as 0.1. If I increase the 0.3, you can see it's changing. Normally arrow size and the font size is almost same. So that's a rule of, it's like a rule of thumb. So if you give say 0.2 here, arrow size also normally 0.2. And center mark also we can have it like a center line or center mark. I mean out of the circle, and it's inside the circle. So this value can be altered. And the break size also can be changed. We have discussed that. This is the auto value we discussed in the last video. And arc length dimensions, I said that when you dimension the arc, it can be above the arc or preceding the arc. So I showed you how to get it preceding the arc. So if I just apply these settings, now my style set current. Now this is the new style I'm using. I will just draw an arc, and arc length dimensions, now it's preceding the arc. So if you want, you can now change the style, my style parameters. I will come here and change it to above, and the arrow size is not big enough, I say 0.4, and the text height also similar, 0.4. Okay, okay. Immediately you can see the effect. Now the arc length symbol is above the text and the arrow sizes are getting bigger. So earlier it was like this. Now this is the current new settings. So we can quickly apply my style to these dimensions, and I'm going to modify again now. So we have discussed these settings, and jog angle normally we keep it as 45 degrees, and jog height factor, what is the meaning of this? So when you put the jog symbol, so we have discussed what is jog. So this is the jog symbol. So this is the jog height. So jog height is a factor of text height. So if the text height is 1, if the factor is 1.5, jog height is 1.5. So here that factor can be given. So if the text height is 0.4, if the text height is 0.4, jog height will be 0.4 times 1.5, about 0.6. So that's an important setting to be remembered. Then we have text tools. So we can use the standard text style or style created by you, and the text colors, fill colors. So those are excuse me, those are somewhat obvious things. What is meant by fill color? So normally you can have a color like this, but this is not practically used. So no, these are not professionally used settings, so you just keep it as none. And if you want, you can have a frame around the text, so that is also not going to be used heavily. And I said that for text height and the arrow size can be more or less similar. Then we have text placements, vertical or above. So if the spacing is not enough, you can have it above or outside, or use standards. These standards likewise can have it. So horizontal also we can have it at extension line 1 or extension line 2, or over the extension line. Likewise, normally we keep it at the center. Beaming direction obviously left to right, we don't use this kind of settings. And offset from dimension line, so this is about text, this gap they are talking about. So if I just apply this, it's increasing, say I have a big value. So now the text is not this 0.5 is there, but here it's not going to be enough space. So software automatically puts the dimension out of the arrow. Because of this setting, there's a tool called fit. If there isn't enough room to place both text and arrow inside extension line, the first thing to move outside the extension line is either text or arrow. So software has automatically you move the text outside, but if you say arrow outside, definitely it will put the arrow outside or text outside, everywhere and text outside. So depending on the space availability, you can either select both methods, or arrows definitely outside, text definitely outside, both text and arrow outside. So there are settings like this: always keep text between extension lines. So it tries to somehow keep it. uh, so this is about the fit placements. Then text alignment, horizontal. So every time the text is horizontal, otherwise we can align with the dimension lines like this way, but this is not professional. So you don't need to bend your head and read the dimensions. So this is not good. So better you have it horizontal, or use the ISO standards depending on the settings you are using. Then I discussed some of the settings here, and we can use the annotative scales if you like. Automatically software will handle that. And coming talking about primary units, normally we use decimal. So if you are using feet and inch representations, you use either engineering or architecture, normally we use decimal. And the precision, I can have decimal places up to 2 or 1. Then the separator can be a comma, normally we put a dot. Round of values can be given. Then we have the prefix and suffixes. So now if this is in inches, I can just type suffix like inch. So everywhere the dimension appears, you will find this inch, inch, inch. Prefix also I can have it. So a prefix value, say if I want to place a diameter like symbol, you can have it, but the problem here is here also diameter, here also diameter, here also diameter. So this is not very good. So some drawings we have say RAD, radius. You want to type the English word radius, but everywhere it's coming as radius, so we have to avoid this other places. So I will discuss how to avoid these other places and have a prefix later. So prefix can be customized, no problem. Then I have this leading zero suppression, trailing zero suppression. So if you have more, I have in my drawing it cannot be seen. So leading zero is the zero before the decimal point. Trailing zero is the zero after the decimal point. So if you want, you can omit these decimal numbers by asking the software to suppress. And the angular units also we normally use decimal decrease. You can suppress these things. And coming back to the alternative units, display alternative units. So this is in feet, sorry, inches. This is in millimeters. So the scaling factor is this. So if you want to have other way around, can be done. You have to take 1 over 25.4. That is, if you assume, so this is the value 1 over 25.4, 0.03937. So if you want to put this as millimeters and this as inches, can be done. Now the software assume this is inches, this is millimeters. So this 2.26 is multiplied by 25.4 and the value is given. But if you want to have the reverse operation, you have to give that 1 over 25.4, that is 0.03937. It's not a very accurate value, but can be given. Now the idea here is this is in millimeters, this is in inches. So you can have a factor, whatever the factor you put, it will be automatically converted to the correct unit. And prefix suffixes also available, leading zero, trailing zero available. You can have the alternative unit below the main unit or the after the main unit. Then we have tolerances. So we everyone may know about tolerances. So we have to give some we have to give some we have to give some range when you do some designs. So we cannot manufacture or construct the drawings actual work according to the given dimension. Always there is a plus or minus error, so that error is called as tolerance. So you can have, this is the actual value you expect, but your lathman or the masons cannot do it accurately, so you have to give a small tolerances. So this tolerance value may be important in critical designs like mobile phones, but in masonry work this may not be really critical. So depending on the field you use this drawing, you have to decide this tolerance value. So this can be a symmetrical tolerance, meaning that both sides I can have same value, that is we can go from 3.99 to 4.01. So the person who construct or manufacture this part can have a freedom of going from 3.99 to 4.01. Here this is not a symmetric tolerance. You can go more in plus direction but less in minus direction. and here we can give the actual value 3.97 to 4.04. But the problem here is I don't know the exact value. So here I know the exact value should be 4, but here I don't know the exact value, but you can easily read it from 3.97 to 4.0. And this is all basic tolerancing. Here we are not giving any specific value, so you have freedom, but this is not really good. So we'll show you how to apply these things now. So if you apply symmetrical tolerance, you can see plus minus symbol appears and the symmetrical value can be given, say 0.01. So both sides now I have freedom of adding 0.01 or deducting 0.01. Then we have a deviation method. So deviation method, it's not symmetrical. You can give two different values. So the minus value is 0.02, plus value is 0.01. Then we can place it in different location. Normally we put it in the middle. Those are the important things. So if you want, you can suppress the zero leading units, and if you want, you can have alternative tolerances for alternative units as well. So those are the settings that mainly we have. So if you just press OK now, okay, so you see this is immediately comes here and immediately it's going to be edited. Now whatever I draw now, we take that new style called my style. So if I just try to put a linear dimension, that linear dimension will carry that tolerance value. So this is how we work with dimension styles. So we can have any number of dimension styles and use the style depending on the situation. Use the correct style depending on the area we put the dimensions. So now we had the problem of giving something like a prefix. So if you want to put some value like radius, now the problem here is everywhere you will find this radius, so that is not good. So we'll look at how to deal with that problem in a question. So we will try to do this question and see. So the parameters given, and here 2 times r is given, 2 times diameter given. So these are overridden values. So I will show you how to get rid of this problem now before coming to the tutorial. Now the idea is when you put the radius here, now this is no problem. So radius 5.20, but these are the problems I have. So I have to ask the software to use either different style for these dimensions and keep this radius style separately. So you can create two styles, or else you can have a say small substyle from my style. So I'll try to create a substyle called radius. So we can do this way. So forget about this radius for the time being. I will remove this letter. Now everything is now quite okay. R is coming now. Other things are okay. Now I want to have radius here and say millimeters something. So we will do what? We will create another style called radius from this my style. So I'm going to create a new style which inherits from my style, and it's going to be applied only for radius dimensions. So the idea here is this is like a child from my style, and it's only going to be applied for radial dimensions. So I'll continue this now. and you can have different settings. Even this arrow can be changed. So I'll show you. Say for the this is a leader, so we will actually they are not allowing you to change the lead. So these things, I have a dot mark. uh, these settings can be changed. The important thing here is I can have a say text height also. I'll increase a little, decrease a little bit for this guy only. So you see this is only shown, and if I want I can have a different color for this text. Then fit diameter units. Here I can type radius and say this is in millimeter. So if I do this changes now, this change is coming to this only for this radial substyle, and press or close. You see nicely it's going to change. Only that dimension is going to change. So the radial dimensions takes that settings. So if you have a circle now, you draw another arc, say, and try to put the dimensions, radius dimension. You see this new setting is going to be applied. But if you try to put arc length, that is the old method. So old method and this new method is different. So if you try to put a diameter, it will take the old method, diameter symbol comes. So if you want, you can customize the diameter even. So I will try to create another style called diameter now. So I'm going to create a new style, again coming from the my style, and this is another child called diameters. So for the diameter, I'm going to have say arrow is now this time tick mark, then arrow size is 0.1, and the text height is 0.1, and I'll have a prefix here called DIA, and I'll remove the tolerances now. So diameter doesn't have a tolerance, so press OK. Now you see I have created a diameter sub style. Okay, now this has diameter will have this word dia, and there's an architectural tick mark. You don't find a tolerance here. So when you create a circle and try to put the diameter, this new style is coming into play. So this is how we manage styles. So we don't need to create different styles for diameters, radius separately. So that will take a lot of time. So instead of that, we can create sub styles from the main style and do this. Now we look at what are the meanings of these override and compare buttons. Actually, override button is something like a temporary uh, solution. So if you want to override some settings for a specific task, so you can quickly go here and click the button and apply the dimensions, change the parameters and apply some dimensions, but it's going to be a temporary overriding, so it will not going to be saved permanently. So you can actually try this and see. It says overrides are displayed as unsaved changes under the dimension style in the text style list. But now this compare is another way of comparing your parameters with another style. So if you are going to a new company, sometimes your boss may ask you to change the apply the company styles. So it's going to be difficult to go through every parameter and see what's going to be changed. So if you want to compare the standard style and my style, can be done quickly, and it will show you the parameters I change. So if you can compare my standard and my style and see what are the changes I did. So I have changed this arc length symbol, arrow sizes. This is the standard size, this is the new style size. So if you compare my style with the my style diameter, these are the changes I did. My style with the my style radius, these are the changes I did. So this is really easy. and you can copy it to a clipboard and paste results to the other applications such as word processor or spreadsheet. So very easy to convey these changes or the communicate these changes to another person by comparing. So I hope you understood the basic settings here. We will go through an example and see in a while. Before coming to this example, so we will look at another style called, actually we have done table styles. We are left with multi-leader styles. So here also I have discussed these dimension styles. Now I have shown you how to override it. Actually I did it with some sub styles. Align text tools also I showed you. Oblique angle we are going to look at in isometric drawings. Then we will now look at how to create a multi-leader style. So it's in chapter 10. So we will look at how to do it quickly. So here I have used the standard multi-leader style. So if you want to say for an example, if I have a circle, if I want to create a multi-leader style, a multi-leader, so we will just do what, we select the circle and type whatever we like. So this type in I can use these symbols available here. Say diameter is 5.0 millimeters, something like this can be typed. This is not actual value, so you can have your own overridden values for this. Now how can I change these settings here? Now how can you change these settings? So now this is the standard style they have used in the software. So I'm going to have my own multi-leader style. So I'm going to create a new style, say my style. Starting with the standard one. Here you don't find much settings like the dimension style. So here important settings are the arrow sizes, arrow shapes, leader break can be also having break size. And here if you want to have a spline kind of a leader, multi-leader can be done. Now if you press OK, this is your new shape. Now this is not going to alter because this use the standard one. Now I'm going to use a new one called my style. So if I just try to apply a multi-leader now, this is my shape. So I will do some alternations. I hope everyone can understand what are the colors, the line type and line weight. So we will come to this one. So this is a important thing. We have the annotative as well, and here we have multi-leader maximum leader points. So if you just increase to 3, what happens? You cannot see a big difference. Sorry for that. We will again change this, and I will have 4 points. First segment angle, say 30 degrees. Second segment angle is 45 degrees. Now what happens? Maximum leader points 4. Now I'll try to put a dimension again. Now since this is a spline kind of a shape, you cannot see that clearly you have 4 points here, 1 2 3 and 4. So I will show you with a straight line, then it's very clear. So I will again come and change these two straight lines. Straight. Earlier it was 2, that is 1 2. Now we have 4, 30-degree and 45-degree angles. So now you can see 1 2 3 4. So this is 30 degrees and other one is 45 degrees. So this is 30 degrees, this angle is 30 degrees, this angle is 45 degrees. So you can have this kind of a shape even with a lot of bends, a lot of leader points. So if you have this as 45 again, this is the result. So normally we don't have this kind of shapes. Better you have this kind of a shape, that's normal standard. So we will look at whether there are some more settings available. So we have this content available. Content can be taken from multi-line text. Then the text options, also we can use the styles in the text style. Text height is there. So the other settings are quite okay, I hope. Landing gap, so this gap can be changed. So you see it's going to change. So these are the basic settings available under multileader styles. So actually I have covered all these now, starting with the text styles, then dimension, then multileader styles and table styles. So all the style tools have been covered. So I hope you understood the concepts now thoroughly. So we will do this example and see how it works, how we can apply these settings for a given example. So this example you can try at home. We will upload the videos for this to this one and this one also in the coming videos.